This podcast includes explicit language and sensitive topics that some may find offensive.
All views expressed belong to the individual speaking and not a representation of any entity that we have been, am now, or will be affiliated with. It's your chance to back out now.
That being said, if not,
enjoy the show.
Previously on the Black Man Misunderstood.
On my skin, bro, I leave the hotel. This is my first time being like right there in that moment where I've been in the medical district, but I ain't never really been in the medical district to be walking around like I know where I'm at. Man, the limbs was so comfortable. I'm walking on the side of the street, people looking at me. I'm like, man, what's good? Like, I'm lit. I'm high. I'm high. Like,
black man, misunderstood.
It's your boy Mike B.
In the neighborhood therapist.
Welcome back to the Black Man Misunderstood. Here we discuss topics that others are afraid to speak on. I'm your host, Mike B, and this is episode 2 of season 4, Grief and Healing. Joining me as always, my brother,
the neighborhood therapist, Justice Payne Tyson. Was good with it.
What up, Brody? How we doing with this episode, man?
It's go season, man. You saw how we came episode 1. We're gonna flip that script. We're gonna keep going deeper into it. People out here really are going through grief and healing. A lot of people don't know what healing looks like. A lot of people don't even know what grief looks like, believe it or not. They're just going through it. So I felt like it's no time but in the present, bro. See, episode 1 was heavy. You know what I mean? You might as well keep it going, man. So without further ado, can I get it going, bro?
Yeah, go ahead. Go into your bag, bro. This is all you, man.
All right, man. So for those of you that don't understand, man, grief is when something happens in your life and you go into a state of shock, or you may feel down. A lot of people say depressed, things like that. But you'll be surprised to know that there are 5 stages of grief, right? So I'm going to use myself because I don't want to put nobody else on blast, right? So when my brother passed away, God rest his soul, there were 5 stages I had to go through, right? So the first stage was denial. I was in denial, like, nah, can't be, my bro. You got the game big. I was questioning everything that was, all the information that was coming in. I was questioning it, couldn't believe it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the anger part of it. A lot of people get angry. No, it can't be. Why? You do a lot of that, right? You get mad. You're just angry all the time, right? The next thing is bargaining. That could be you bargaining with God. That could be you bargaining in your head. That could be you bargaining with the people around you. I wish I could have did this. Where was I at? Why was I not there? That is bargaining. That's a lot of that, right? This starting to sound familiar, folks. Grief. All right. Next thing we go into is what we call depression. You see how depression is at the tail end of this thing, because it's 5 stages. This is the 4th stage. So a lot of people get confused with anger and the bargaining. They're like, oh, well, I'm depressed. Hold on, you ain't quite there yet. Go through your steps, right? And don't get this confused. Some people will skip over anger. You know what I mean?
I was going to ask that.
They'll go right into depression. So this doesn't work, go through each step. Every human is unique. Everybody's different. But I'm just giving you the steps the way you need to hear them. So right now, we got denial, anger, bargaining, depression. After you go through your depression, sometimes it could take a couple of months. Man, sometimes it could take years. I know people right now that's chronically depressed from a situation that they just been like that for a long time, man. It takes years. The last step is acceptance. You accepted the fact that the person is gone or that the situation happened, and you move forward. Now, I need to be very clear. I call it DABDA, D-A-B-D-A, right? So that's how you can remember it. Denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance.
Okay.
You can apply that to anything sad in your life. You can look at any moment in your life and you can go, where was I at when this moment struck? You know what I mean? Where was I angry at? Why?
Yeah.
And you go through those moments. So I just implore people, man, take the DABDA approach, look at your life, do some real soul searching, and take it from there. Mike, any questions about that before I move forward? Was I unclear at all? Anything?
No, I think you pretty straightforward. I've heard some of this before, but layman terms, I think that was the best way explained. My honest opinion about that, I'm glad that you said that people skip some stages because I don't feel like everyone necessarily gets depressed unless you can elaborate the different ways people can be depressed. Because I think that's the only one that I'm like kind of questioning because depression looks different for different people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and like I don't know if I would. We'll get more into it later when we specifically talk about it. Like me losing my mom at like age 11, a month before my 12th birthday, and depression for me may not have been depression for my sister nor my brothers. And I think we all handle it very different. We all handled it very differently growing up, and was still do like it never fully goes away. But I think time of course heals all wounds and things of that nature. But I just feel like we all dealt with it differently, and we all have our own rhythms when it comes to that. So yeah,
You're 100% on point. And this might be very disrespectful to somebody listening to it, but this is the best way I can give it to you off the top of my head. Depression does have different facets. It's in a sense, it's like how you got functioning alcoholics.
yeah,
You got functional depressive people out here. Like God rest his soul. Robin Williams was a functional depressive person. He was making you laugh, ha ha, kiki, everything, but then he was going home and he was feeling how he was feeling, based off of what we
okay,
was told anyway, right?
okay.
Then you got the classic what we see on TV with depression, which is I'm in the bed, I don't want to get up. That's what we call
Hmm.
like real bad chronic depression. Like, you ain't even getting up to feed your kids, that type of thing. It becomes very, very dangerous. Not to say that the active depression isn't dangerous, but you know, depression, you're right. Depression looks different on everybody. Like I told you on that first episode, my depression was to kick back and isolate for 2 days. I became a hater but only
Hmm.
because I was disciplined enough to know, hey, I can't reach out to nobody. I'm depressed. I know I'm depressed. I had to recluse, but I came out of that. But that's only because I've had training and I've been into therapy and I know what to do. I'm a therapist myself, so I know how to get out of that. But what about the person that don't?
Hmm. Good point.
So, that takes us into my next thing, man. Let's really get into this, bro. It's a couple of questions. So I'm gonna give you all the questions and I'm gonna take it back to the original question, then we'll break it down like that. Cool?
Okay, cool, cool, cool,
Okay.
cool.
What was your first known run-in with death? That's one. Did you truly understand what was going on? What does healing feel like? And what does it look like to you? I know that was a lot, so I'm gonna bring it back. What was your first run-in with death?
Running with death. I'm trying to think. Like honestly, I don't know if I had a true running with death. Honestly, it could have potentially just me walking around streets of Patterson that night. Honestly, I can think that, or the other incident would probably been my DUI, where I didn't have control of the car, and at that point in time, anything could have happened. Luckily, it just slid into a railing. Luckily, and then
Oh,
hit
you're
another
so you're
car.
talking about your actual run-in with death. Okay, all right. That's not where I was going, but I like that. I like it too. I'm rocking. I'm
Yeah.
rocking. Okay.
So first known running with death.
Like, like a
That's
funeral or
personal. Oh, but personally, funeral. Trying to think who
or
was.
somebody passing away and them telling you, hey, this person passed away. That I'm talking about the first real moment where you heard, hey, this person is no longer here. How old were you? Did you comprehend that? That type of thing.
I know it's before 10.
Okay.
In all honesty, it was probably It was either, if I remember correctly, it was either my grandmother, finding out my grandmother died on my mom's side, or it was a cousin who I don't even remember meeting. It was my father's brother's kid died in gang violence, and we had to go to the funeral. So I was in a limo, all that good stuff. If anything, I would probably say that one was first. If I remember correctly, that one was first. And like I kind of didn't understand what was going on, why we had to be in the limo, why we were all separated, why we were going to this. I'm like, I don't remember this person. Just to be frank, yeah.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll answer back and then I'll hit you with the question and keep going. Cool with that?
Yeah. Cool.
First known running death that I can remember is 2001. Twin Towers went down, and also my grandmother passed away. So that was happening simultaneously for me.
Okay. I get
So
that.
that is what I remember. And the crazy thing about it was I wasn't in Patterson at that time. I was in Hackensack. This is right before I came back home to Patterson. Moved back to Patterson.
Okay.
So I was a child and I was able to see the smoke from the Twin Towers over because Hackensack is super close to New York. For those of you that don't know, I saw the smoke. We were in gym and we had gym outside. So I saw that smoke. The teachers were showing what was on TV. This just shows you how crazy it was in the 90s, yo. The teachers were showing what was happening in real time on the TVs.
Yep.
And we had those big old TVs that you had to pull into the classroom. You remember?
Oh yeah.
The cable cord and all that. So that was happening in real time, right? And then to get pulled out of school, parents was picking up their kids out of school, left and right that day, right? And then for me to finally get home and there's a phone call, left on the voicemail. And I might be misremembering this because the time span, but I know it's the same year the way that this happened. But essentially, I went through that, and then I went through, hey, your grandmother passed away. It's my grandmother on my father's side. Hey, your grandmother passed away, and the funeral was this day. So I'm like, I missed the funeral. She passed, and I missed the funeral. So my only last memory of my grandmother was going to the hospital with her, looking at her as she's in pain.
Oh wow.
That was my last memory of my grandmother. And I remember I was like maybe 10, same age. That was fifth grade, right?
Yeah, that's probably about fifth grade. Yeah.
Right. So I gave her that kiss, right? And between me and you, I feel like that was half of the moment where the kid in me kind of broke.
Okay.
Because shortly after that, I transferred and I came home. I'm in Patterson, school 13. That's when you met me. You met me on the tail end of me breaking half my childhood, because if you would have met me in my full stage, I think me and you would have actually went down the same path. That's just my honest opinion. I really do.
Okay. I can see that.
You know what I'm saying? Because I was excited about church still. I was, you know what I mean? I was still, I'm telling you, Mike, we would have been so similar in that aspect. There's a reason you levitated towards me. I'm telling you. And it was because that was my foundation.
Okay,
See what I'm saying?
I got you. I'm rocking.
But to answer the other question, did you truly understand what was going on? Me, no. No clue.
Yeah.
You? When they told you about that?
I don't think so. Like definitely not for my cousin. For my grandmother, I get that she died. I get that point. I don't know if I fully understood. I knew I had to go to Jamaica, had to take time off. I'm in school, had to catch up on schoolwork. But like, did I fully understand what had happened? Probably not.
Okay. So I want you to answer this as an adult now in the moment. What does healing feel like to you?
Healing. Whew. I guess healing feels like it's when you finally get to that point where whatever caused you grief the original feeling of the pain never truly goes away, but you can manage it in a way that it doesn't derail what you do on a day-to-day basis to move your
Mm.
life forward. That's definitely how I look at it now as an adult. I think as a child, I more so looked at it as there has to be something else I need to do right now because I can't do that anymore. That's how I probably looked at healing when I was younger. And I think that's like probably still like a defense mechanism for me today. So, yeah.
That's fair. That's realistic. That's real. What does healing feel like? What does it look like? Feel right. I think it feels like a boulder being lifted off of you.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Um,
yeah.
it- you know, I'm trying not to bring up TV shows, man, but the best way I can describe it, and I hate if I'm ruining this for anybody, but I mean, y'all should have been watched it already. The last episode, Lou from Power Universe. I know I keep bringing up Power Universe, but that Raising Caning is a phenomenal show. Okay, Lou's sitting there and allowing his truth to be spoken, his demons to come off his chest, regardless if he's sober or not. That to me is a form of healing because if if you pay attention to what's happening in those episodes, he's every time he does it. That's great method acting, by the way. That if
What?
that's what it feels like. Healing feels like
A deep
that's what
breath.
it feels like. I can breathe again.
Mm-hmm. 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 I
Now
guess.
I think it looks different on everybody else. But what it looks like to me is, just taking a deep breath, taking a moment, go in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just really loving and enjoying life, bro. You know what I mean? Putting the feet to grass, you know what I mean? Not just
Yeah.
sneakers, not just socks, like your feet, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
get that. I get that.
that's definitely where I'm at. But let's get into this nitty gritty, man. Let me hit you with another one, man.
Yes, sir.
I want us to compare, and I want to go first because I want you to go next because I know you got some heat coming for us, right? So just allow me to go first as I ask this question, bro. I want us to compare experiences with death as children, teens, young adults, and adults because it looks differently as you go through the stages of life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So as a child, I told you 10 years old, I didn't really understand. I just know that everybody around me was crying about it and they were upset. Do you know what woke me up where I fully understood what death was? I'm not going to say his name, but I'm going to allude to it and you're going to know exactly who I'm talking about. There was
Okay.
a young brother that we went to school with. I can't remember if he was in our grade or he was in a grade up from us, but I remember we had an attachment to him. We seen him the day before, and then we didn't see him the next day, and everybody was quiet. And I believe me and you were the most innocent ones in there because me and you were the only ones genuinely confused. Everybody else was upset, crying. They were messed up about it. And I was like, what is going on? And they was like, you didn't hear? God rest his
Yeah.
soul. Went into a burning building and he didn't make it out. And I was like, well, why
Yeah.
would he do that? He was going to save his grandmother. And that was the first time I had to sit back in the chair and I could feel it. I think my black soul activated. Where I go, no, seriously, Mike, seriously.
Yeah. No, I get you
Black
though.
folks have this empathetic soul where if something happens to another person, any human, right? But really, for real, when it happens to a black person, we go, ooh, could have been
Mm-hmm.
me. Or, man, I really feel, I don't know how to explain it. It's just something
Yeah.
we attach to
Yeah.
each other like that, right? You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm talking about,
I
Mike.
know.
You feel
I
me?
know. I know
Right?
exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So when they explained that to me, like I felt something in me die. I'm like,
Mm.
wait, he went in the burning building to save his grandmother and he didn't make it out. And then somebody made it worse. They was like, man, his grandmother was already out. I was like, no, no. This dude was our age. I think he was a year older, but he was, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know what
Age
I'm
group.
talking about, right?
Yeah, I remember. I remember that story. Mm-hmm.
So as a kid, I think that's when it snapped for me like, oh wow, this is death. They can be here today and they won't come back tomorrow. Or the day after, or the day after. It's not like a TV show where you're like, oh, surprise, I actually wasn't dead. I'm back. You know, we don't get that moment. I think that's when it was started turning for me.
Clicking.
Right. One thing about growing up in the inner city though, boy, once you get that first taste, and I'm not glorifying this. I want to be very clear. I'm not glorifying. I'm just giving you my raw reaction. One thing about growing up in the inner city, once you get that first taste of death, for some reason it just keep coming, bro. It just boom, 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 boom. When I tell you I moved to Patterson, back home to Patterson, because I'm born and raised, but I left. Came back in 5th grade. The first death was Granny. Then the next one was our brother, who we're not gonna speak on his name, God rest his soul. The young brother that went into the fire. And then right after that, my aunt passed away from pneumonia. And then right after that, I'm trying to be careful because in the city street things, you can be considered a snitch at this point. I started bumping into people that were smoked. The who's who of Patterson of people that got smoked. I was there, but I was a kid. I was a teenager. You see what I'm saying? And I was a hard-headed teenager at that. So I would walk home. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. I would walk home from school 13. I'm supposed to be walking straight home. I would take the shortcut. I would go up 12th and 23rd,
Of
12th
course.
and
Of
22nd.
course.
You
Of
know what I
course.
mean? Because my house is over there. I take the shortcut. I take the shortcut. And I will see certain things. You will see damn, we can't even call them dope fiends no more. What do we call them now, Mike? What's the proper word? Drug users. Let's do that.
Yeah, because I was still thinking about the other one.
It's so politically correct now, and I'm not even trying to harm nobody's feelings. It's just what we used to say. But
Yeah.
drug users and drug abusers, you will see them. You will see them getting slapped up for money. You will see, the young ladies selling their bodies and things like. As a kid, as a teenager,
Yeah.
bro, between me and you, I seen a lot of people get smoked, bro. And I had to really sit back when I went into therapy. I had to really sit back and analyze it. I'm like, yo, I don't think that's normal. Because I used to think that that was normal. That I would just be in the right, I'm gonna say wrong place at the right
Right
time.
time.
Yeah, and somebody be like, "What? You got me? Boom, 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 boom," and I'm like, "Oh, somebody else." And I think to this day, bro, that's why I'm so desensitized to chaos and death and things like that. Because even my wife would be like, "Yo, why you not?" Because shout out to Houston, but y'all crazy. We probably got some of the craziest drivers in America. Okay, I don't care what nobody say. Florida got the worst, but I said crazy, craziest drivers.
Yo, yo, yo,
Florida definitely got the worst drivers. They don't use blinkers, lights, or nothing, right?
bruh.
But Houston got the wildest drivers to date. We blast out our windows if you don't go fast enough from a green light. If you really look us up per capita, we're killing each other on the street faster than we're killing each other on the actual street. Like we're killing ourselves in the cars, we're shooting at each other.
That's
So
crazy.
it's madness, bro.
That's
But
crazy.
people be ready to hit me in the vehicle, and I won't. Oh, none of that stuff. I just be like, okay, come on with it. And I've been thinking about it as an adult. I'm like, yo, Justice, it's because you're desensitized from that. You know what I mean? And then they got to a point, that's child to teenage years, pretty much the same thing. But bro, 16, 17, junior year, senior year, bro.
Yeah, that's
I'm
tough.
gonna be honest with you, bro. You was around me, right? But that was also the time, and we're gonna get into this in the next episode. But that was also the time when me and you actually started drifting and going those
Doing our
different directions.
things. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because me and you could not recognize each other. You be like, "Oh, what's up, bro?" I'm like, "What's up, Mike?" Da-da-da. You can see it. I was no longer there, and you be like, "All right, bro, about to head to choir practice, bro. I'm out. I'm out."
Yo, facts.
Because you were raised, hey, look, you're gonna have to love him from far because the path he going down, it looked dark, and I respect it. But again, we'll get into that next time.
Well, yeah.
So during that phase right there, I seen a lot of death. I was a part of some of the death. Not to say that by my hands, I was a part of that death, but like I'm around the intersection, and because I said something crazy, this person jumped up, and it's like the person that's next to me is like, "Oh, no, you got the game bit. It's up. It's up." And those are some of the things now that I got to live with. So when you start talking about denial, anger, bargaining, depression, you know what I mean? We don't talk about that. So
Mm-hmm.
those are the demons you got to exercise up out of you, man, right? And that's teenage years and young adult, right? We go
Mm-hmm.
to adult life, where we fast forward to here now. Man, listen, bro. Death for me, right? I might lose a couple people when I go here. I can feel it coming already. I can feel it coming. So what I do is I tell people ahead of time, be like, hey, prepare yourself. Let's and not specifically. It's more so, hey, look, hypothetically, man, if this was to happen, I don't want to talk about that. Why are you so negative, Just? Listen, hypothetically,
The
do you got your
reality.
life insurance policy in place? Do you have what are the I talk to you know, I do this to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, Mike, what that life insurance policy here for? You be like, come on, bro. Mike, what that life insurance policy hitting for, bro? I
I
try to
got you.
prepare the people around me because I'm like, yo, I
Anything
can
can
kind of
happen.
feel it, you know?
Yeah.
But I would say the difference between the child and the adult is that I'm more prepared. I
I can.
understand it more. You see what I'm
I
saying?
I can understand that. Yep. I definitely get that. I definitely get that. Whew. Death as a child, teen, young adult. And I'm going to say it like this. I think you've missed one death, but I don't think you truly understood how much that death affected you yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one with me. And I think he purposely didn't allude to it.
Right. I mean, that's not my story to tell. I mean, I can give the perspective afterwards, but I'm not gonna
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
So, as you all know, I've been, most people who know me and most people who's listened on this podcast, I've said it more times than not. I lost my mom at the age of 11. I even said it early in this episode. And I feel as though my mom's death actually opened my eyes truly to death and how we can be here today, gone tomorrow, and someone that you depended on, you have to find your way and navigate life without. It basically made me grow up way quicker than I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that I probably wasn't already on that path with certain things, but losing my mom at age 11, I felt like I had a better understanding of what this world has to offer and what we need to do to get the best out of it. And taking the opportunities I know to better my life, one, and actually diving into those things. All that came to a realization after my mom died, for sure. Like, yeah, I'm not gonna say I didn't have fun, didn't do teen things, underage things. I'm not gonna say that at all. I'm just gonna say I probably didn't do it as much as other people thought I should have. I just didn't see the value in wasting time like that all the time. I had my moments. I'm cool. Put me in certain situations, and and even still, like I told you guys, I had a DUI. That DUI reframed my mindset again because I was like doing it too much, and I knew I had to address it back. So but seeing death after my mom just changed everything. Like when I saw people dying left and right, like you said, once you see it, it starts to happen more frequently. People from church, other members of the family, even friends, peers that you went to school with. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, that one death, yeah, that threw us all off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another death, you weren't a part of this one. I almost certain we had another similar situation like that in high school when I went to tech. And we lost somebody that way, and I was like, "Yo, what? That's crazy." But I think my realization with death, though, at that point is like sometimes death happens because of the choices that we make, right? For different situations,
Whew, you getting deep, Mike. Go ahead, man.
right? And then the other thing about death is that sometimes we never have full control. That's just the plan that the man upstairs has for us. Like, I didn't think I was going to have my mom when I graduated high school, graduated college, getting married. My mom missed all those events. And then I look at it on the other side when, God rest his soul, I'm not going to mention his name. He was a teammate of both of ours, but he was a teammate with you in Little League and teammate with me in high school, who had a devastating car accident.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm just going to say he could have, things that happened that night, he could have made a better decision and he could still be here with us today. But I'm not going to say that his death wasn't life altering, life changing, because it was. Like, when that one happened, everybody, when I'm telling you, everybody I played with in high school showed up. Everybody he played with in Little League that I knew showed up. Like, that death was crazy because everyone did not expect it.
Mm-hmm.
But it also shows that how I saw death, because like I'm like, dang, that could be any one of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember if that was after my DUI or before my DUI. And like I had to ship up, I had to make sure I had to make some life changes again. So yeah,
If it matters, it was before.
it was before, right?
Yes,
So
because when the DUI happened, I don't know how much you want to go into that, but you know, when me and you had words about it, that was the instance I had brought up when I blacked out on you.
yeah. No. So no, we could go into a little bit and like, yeah, I wasn't thinking right, and in all honesty, in my mindset, it was I should have known I wasn't thinking right. But me being the person that I am, I was trying to make sure someone got home,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was basically trying to find a gas station to put gas in my sister's car, being a responsible little brother of borrowing her car.
Don't blame this on Keish.
No. I'm not blaming Keisha. I'm saying that's just my mindset. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming anyone. I'm like that's just my mindset on how I handled certain things with my sister and other females and whatnot. And I'm still kind of like that. I'm still like that today. And I'm like, I'm thinking like this at like 4 a.m. I should just brought my black belt home and been chilling, but I wasn't in my right mind. And I honestly can say that, stating that, honestly, I could have been gone that night and we wouldn't be here doing this.
And before you ask the next question, can I jump in and say that's why initially I blacked out on you? It wasn't because I was disappointed in you. It wasn't because you were making me mad. It was because I rewound to the moment where you know what's crazy? When your mom passed away, I don't think you came back to school.
No, you know what happened? No, I did come back to school. It happened during the summer. Literally everything. I was getting ready to go to Jamaica. School was ending, and my mom died in the summer. So y'all didn't really see me until I got back. Yeah.
Right. So when I saw you, you were a shell of self, right?
Yeah.
And because you asked the question, and I'm going there. Why I didn't bring it up because I was trying not to. Right?
Yeah.
You were a shell of self. I don't know if you noticed to this day, you were actually that push point that made me go, this world is full of shit.
Really?
As a kid.
Really?
Because I didn't understand that this is how death works and things like that. Because yes, my grandmother leaving, that the whole 9/11 thing happening. But then for somebody that I met and is somebody that's now my road dog, for me to meet the person, get real close with the person, meet the person's mother. The mother is standing on business, like, oh yeah, you need to stick with this person. She did that in a span of a couple of months, by the way.
A year, yeah, basically a year, yeah,
Almost a year, but to me it's a couple months because it
yeah,
boom and then
yeah.
right. Then to not being able to go to your house and see her smile, because that smile would light me up. Again, I've never told you this before. She had this smile, man.
She did.
Just had this smile where it was infectious, and it would light me up every time I see it. If I was having a bad day and I see Miss Carly, light me up. I'm being real with you. I never told you this. It would light me up as a kid. I'd be like, man, that's so. You know what I mean? Because it reminded me of my mother. My mother had a similar smile. Their smiles would light me up
Oh
when I
yeah,
was younger. Would light me up when I was younger. But when you came and you told me that, and I was like, bro, what's up? I've been hitting you up all summer. Been coming out of your house and you ain't answering the door. I was lighting you up. I remember this. I was like, man, where you been at? And you weren't laughing.
yeah.
You weren't like, it was just so, and you was just like, I had to bury my mom. And I was just like, what that mean? Like, she went on vacation and ignorance of a child. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
At that
yeah.
moment, you had left me, mature wise. You had left me. And he was like, man, I had to bury my mom. And then you explained it to me, then you broke it down to me. I'm sitting there asking you questions. Even in the moment, I'm thinking about it now. Even in the moment of me asking you questions, you could have told me to fuck off.
Oh,
You could have
yeah.
told me to kick rocks. You know what I mean? Like, why are you asking me all these questions? I just buried my mom. But you sat there with me. You explained it to me. You went through the emotions with me. And bro, I'm forever in your debt to that because maybe if had you not, I don't know if I would have really truly understood death. I don't know if I would get to this point in my life. So thank you for being vulnerable in that moment to give me something like that. But bro, from me to you, mama leaving here, your mom leaving here, it broke something in me I couldn't get back. I couldn't. I
Yo,
couldn't. And I just started taking shortcuts. I shouldn't have. But it made me who I am today. And I'm just thankful that we get to do this 360 moment where you went that way, I went this way, and we come back here
yeah.
because that's what it has to be. But if you asking me personally, bro, that was the moment. That was the moment. Because what you did was I'm just my experience. You took it and you were like, my mom would want me to do this. So I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
Because I saw it, bro. You was very militant in school after that point. Don't get me wrong, you were before, but you would be slacking off, man. I know. I know Keisha ain't gonna like hearing that, but yeah, Mike used to be BSing sometimes. I ain't gonna lie to you. He was super smart, but he be BSing sometimes, right?
My sister know that, please.
Right. Well, man, when mama said, no, I'm out, I'm going home to my father, I'm telling you, nobody could play with you. They would be like, "Oh, Mike," try to crack jokes. You ain't laughing. You trying to get up off the table. You ready to fight? I'm like, huh? I'm like, he not even known to like. I'm like, Mike, bro. I'm. I really became a big brother in that instant because I'm like, hey, y'all, he don't fight. So if y'all pushing him to a point where he won't fight, y'all doing something wrong. Y'all doing something wrong.
Yo.
Little did I know you were going through your own grief, bro.
Yeah.
And then at that point, bro, this is my opinion. This is just my opinion. I feel like you were in your anger stage.
Definitely. That no, I can definitely say that anyone who tried to bring up my mother at that point, it was fighting words for
It was
me.
out.
And the crazy thing is, like, here's a little caveat. So it all happened to me and my siblings. I'm talking
Mhm.
about my two brothers, and like when I'm telling you, like we got in like to different altercations that year at all different points. And like I should have been suspended a couple of times. But the principal, the teachers, they all knew what happened. It was like Michael, Joe, Dean, they're never like this.
Never.
Never. So they already knew that's this is a repercussion of them losing their mother. Yeah.
And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna stand on what I'm saying. I think that event rained out further than we even thought, because from that day forward, it was kind of like everybody in the hood. Not to say that y'all were super important to the hood, right? I'm not trying to make that assumption,
No,
but I'm
no,
just
no.
telling you, the Bennett boys, right, and Keisha, those names came synonymous with grief and what happened, but those names also came synonymous with leave them alone. Those are God's people. It's kind of like an unspoken language when it happened, and then y'all started moving around and y'all started moving, because what was happening was some people would try y'all, and those same people that would try y'all didn't have to do anything. The people around y'all was handling it.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It gave a lot of the people that didn't have courage. I'm gonna speak for myself. I wasn't one of those, like, I'm not who you see today. That's not who I was. I was a nerd. Crooked glasses, just. I mean that. You know what I mean?
Yo,
I mean that.
facts.
I always stand on that, right? I'm Kingdom Hearts kid, Metal Gear Solid. I was a nerd. I keep trying to tell people that, right? But watching my brother go through certain situations, people trying his top and things like that, I built courage. A lot of people got punched in the mouth playing with Mike over. Like, I don't play about my brother.
Yo, I'm not gonna name his name. I'm gonna just say a cousin of yours, or I think he was a cousin of yours through marriage, who lived across the street from the school. We all, and I'm talking about the brotherhood. We all had a moment with him. Remember that in seventh grade?
Mhm.
And it started with me, which was crazy.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Do you know my, to this day, she still bring that up. She like, you did this and that's your cousin. I'm like, yo, I had to stand on business. My bro, this and this is what started it off. But that's your cousin. But that's my bro. Yeah. But
That was
yeah, man,
wild.
to answer the question, man, yes, that was a pivotal moment for me. It broke a lot of things in me, because I couldn't fathom that. I couldn't understand that. Why somebody like him does he lose his mother? And again, you know what? That last episode, I said maybe that was the first time I ever became a hater. I think that was the second time, because I think I do remember as a kid, I was like, all these people don't deserve their moms. Why did you take his? No, 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 Mike, I'm serious. I'm serious.
Yo, that's crazy. No,
I'm
no, no,
serious.
no. You know me. This is me just being animated. But
I'm
yeah,
serious.
no, that's yeah. You know,
I'm serious.
because I ain't gonna front. I'm gonna tell you like this. Like growing in my teenage years, there was moments with my father, and I think I've even this conversation even with you. I've said it. Like I'm like, out of all my parents, he take her.
Mm.
Like
Honest though, bro. That's
yo,
honest.
that's honest. I was like, why her? Like, my mom was there,
Mm-hmm.
supportive, everything. She knew who my people were. Why? But growing up, you have a realization. Why? on to, and with that, on to the next point anyway. What was the effects on your family in these moments? And did you have to deal with being a rock for others while being in your grief? Now, I'm gonna answer this first before I let you go.
Go ahead, do your thing.
And it goes back to what you said when I told you I had to do this, 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 and this because my mom's not here no more. I wouldn't say I was totally the rock for everyone in that situation. I would say I would try to be the rock for my two brothers in that moment when
Mm-hmm.
mom died. Because I was the eldest boy, I had an older sister who my sister was my rock, and technically me and my brothers rock, and my even though my brothers may not have realized it at the time. Keisha held a lot of her emotions to herself
Mm-hmm.
and didn't fully express them to us until we were older. Well, she may have expressed it to me a little bit quicker than my other two brothers because me and my sister has that type of relationship. But yeah, my sister was holding certain things down, and like the crazy thing is, my sister was going through. My sister wasn't working. My sister was just home making sure we were good. Now, I'm gonna tell a little bit of her story, but I'm not gonna tell all her story. There was probably 6 to 9 months where Keisha didn't have a job and all her bills were paid.
You just
like,
proved my point.
like all her bills were paid, and she only snapped out of it when she started to realize that the money was going to start looking for a job. And that's my sister being a rock to us. Me being a rock to my brothers is I was trying to be strong, right? Well, I was being strong and trying to be strong in different instances, and trying to show them what needs to be done for them to survive and succeed. You do this, not that. You talk to this teacher, or you talk to the principal about certain things like this. You do this. You want to make sure your grades are good. You need to let your family know where you at all times. Well, with me, that was Keisha. All right. If you want to get something done with my father, you need to prep him a couple of times ahead of time. Like, I was trying to be that example of how to do things. And I think that's my way of thinking how I was supposed to be the rock for my brothers. But now, on the flip side, especially if you guys watch the sibling rivalry episode, you realize that backfired on me because I'm trying to do things a certain way instead of just talking and being there with my brothers.
Mm.
So that was the effect on my family. It was like we were all trying to deal with our mother's grief and the healing process all differently. Keisha trying to be there for us and actually be there until she had to start working. Me trying to be the example for my brothers instead of actually talking and being with my brothers. And then my brothers, Joseph, Joseph became, in my honest opinion, Joseph was like a shell of himself after that happened. Joe's always been reserved, but Joseph really became very reserved after our mom died with certain things. Like if I remember stuff correctly, it was like people had to talk to me to get to Joe.
Yup.
People had to talk to me to get to Joe, and then I'd pass the information to Joe, and then Joseph did what he wanted with it. Sometimes he gave me a reply back to give back. Sometimes he just dealt with it on his own, or sometimes he just ignored it completely.
The shoulder shrug. The infamous shoulder shrug.
Yep. And then Minnie, he was the baby. He really, I would say he was still the kid out of us all.
Mm-hmm.
Mostly. I would say he was still the kid out of us all, but even his change was more so he was fascinated with death.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime there was a funeral or anything, the boy would walk up and look at coffins. To this day, he still has a fascination, but he controls it now. He's an adult. He's like, I was a kid then. I didn't know any better. Now he's an adult. Dressed back a little bit, but you see, that was the effects in that moment of my family. And, it's like I said in the last episode, the butterfly effect. One thing happened and the ripple goes out.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
That's right. Okay. What else you got, bro?
Nah, you gotta answer, bro. Even though you probably did it last episode. Just quick synopsis.
I can't remember as a kid or a teen anything where I was the rock. For family, I would say for the brotherhood or for homies, or you know what I mean, for the homegirls on the block, yeah, 100%. But for family, I didn't become the rock for my family until I created a family. And I think, in my personal opinion, I could be wrong. So in doing that, I feel like that's what comes with it.
Yeah.
So there's no pressure or anything like that. I don't think it's any trauma held up to that. But I think you have questions that's about to come up next.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
I can dive in a little bit more into that after that.
Yeah. So, all right. So we know, especially after the last episode. Now, if you were The Rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
The real question now is, did you have space to handle it? And the follow up question to that is, were you even given the opportunity to?
Yeah, I mean, I forced the space. If that's a I forced the space to handle it. Given the opportunity to, I mean, it was only me and her, so yeah, I had. I mean, again, I'm old school, if that's what we calling that. I'm a man's
Mhm.
man. I believe that the man should guide and lead. So that's what I did. You know what I mean? There was a moment where I felt like it was weakness, but after that, it was, come on, we got something to do. We got to make sure you're good. Now, making sure you're okay while making sure the other person okay in the moment. That right there, man, that is a juggle. That's a juggle. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. You just got to be good, and take your time. Take your
Yeah.
time. Apply priorities. Take your time. What about you?
Being The Rock, well, I said I thought I was The Rock for my brother. So I would say, was I given space to handle it all? If I look back on it as a kid, I probably was given the space to handle it, not
Mm-hmm.
realizing I was probably not really The Rock, even though
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely was given the opportunity because Big Sis was actually The Rock, right? And I think as an adult, have I had to in any instant yet? I don't think for my family that I just created, I have to had the opportunity to do that yet in moments like that. But being a rock, I think I can say personally, I take it that way with my creative family, with my wife, the expenses, all that good stuff, and making those like slight decisions is like it's a. I'm not saying that I am the end all be all for things in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that at all. But I do think my opinion is valued and is needed.
Mm-hmm.
So being a rock in that instance, yeah, I could definitely say that. But yeah.
Same thing, bro. Space and opportunity is there. I feel like this is just something that we do naturally, given our traumatic passes and our past in general. But before we move on to the next thing, and we're gonna wrap this up real soon. Shout out to Keisha, man.
Yo,
I know I said it at the I know I said it at the wedding, man. But Keisha, if you listen to this, I need you to know I really stand on what I'm saying to you because I got to watch it in real time. I was a child watching a child be a mother. People don't understand what that do. And listen, I've never said this to Mike, so this is real. This is coming out naturally. I was a child watching a child be a mother to people my age.
yep,
My own mother, when she would see Keisha, would break bread with her as if she was her equal.
that's facts.
This is I'm
That's
not making up no
facts.
stories, man. You know what I'm saying? Keisha was respected in the hood, not because of hands. Keisha got hands. That's not the point. She wasn't respected for her hands, bro. She wasn't respected for her mouth and what she was saying. She was respected for her mouth, though. But we not talking about that. Keisha was respected because she went into a situation that was unfair to her and she held her family together. We're not going to go any further than that because, yes, there is backstory to that. But that is Keisha's story to tell. That is your father's story to tell. It's not for us. But I
Hmm.
just want to say, Keisha, to you as a big sister, you didn't have to do that, but you did that. And I'm forever. I know I don't mean nothing. I'm on the outside. What am I? You know what I mean? Like, for
Nah,
me. I'm forever indebted to you. I'm forever grateful for you because I saw what it took times two, watching my mother and watching you in real time. That Keisha, you and my mother are the reasons I have such an affinity for black women. Cause I watched y'all do it. I'm like, bro, them two, y'all can't tell me nothing about black women. I don't care. I don't care. Oh, they roll their necks too much. Oh, they got attitude. I don't care. I'm gonna be right here. Right here. Cause I watched these two do it.
Mm-hmm.
I know they ain't got nothing to do with the episode, bro, but I had to say it. Somebody
Oh,
gotta say it.
hey,
Okay.
it's needed, bro.
All right. My last thing, and I'm shutting up, man. With the misunderstandings in the different generations, there are a lot of misunderstandings, okay? Why is the younger generation viewed as the most expressive, the most healed?
I feel like the younger generation, and be correct, I'm going to say this: the youngest generation. There are two currently. You have alphas, but they do not. Alpha has not come up to prominence yet. It's Generation Z. And these are people currently, I would say, that are younger than 25, I believe, 26, 25. They are not millennials. People need to stop confusing us with them.
Yeah, ASAP.
Millennials are majority of people who are in their 30s or early 40s, like 40, 41, maybe 42. That's millennials, folks. Just to give you a time frame. So now, this younger generation is viewed to be more expressive.
Very.
Very, right? And the reason why I think that they're viewed to be more expressive is because they do not know how to hold their tongue, right? And when it comes to grief and healing, and we said this last episode, if you say the wrong thing at the wrong opportunity, it changes everything. So, like, I'm not gonna get too political, but with all the stuff going on in the world right now and people choosing sides and whatnot, I'm like, yeah, they can say it's the older generation, but at the same time, can you actually talk to the individuals on this side in a certain way? Don't say the first thing that's on your head. Maybe take a second, be calculated, and actually speak in a proper manner that is respected. And I would see not seen as hostile. Cause like, yeah, they may say, "Oh, the older generation just speaking their mind." Yeah, they're speaking their mind, and that's what their generation is. That's how the generation grew up and built and stuff like that. But even still, they don't just say, I don't think they just say the first thing that comes out their mouth. Sometimes they do, but I feel like they go back, take a moment, and clarify how they want to say it. And you may disagree with it, but that's their viewpoint. I just don't think this generation thinks about what they say sometimes. They just say it. It's wild that they just say it. And like, even us, like as millennials, I think it's like we have our moments. We know when we want to say things. We know when to hold back and come back and say something about it, but in a manner that people understand or need to hear it. But then there's times where we need to hear the harsh truths. And I feel as though the newer generation, I don't think they had that, where they can take the harsh truths. Because I feel like they take the harsh truths and they take it like a shot against them. Where it's just a critique to, maybe you should think about it in such a slightly different manner. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, misunderstandings.
I got a short answer to this. It's the reason why the misunderstanding is so deep and they're viewed as the most expressive is because they had this, what we're doing right now, which is they call it a podcast, but we call it a show. It's episodic, right? And social media. And their internet is faster than ours.
Oh yeah, that's true.
They are allowed to get on a tube, a screen, and hey y'all, what's up? Boom, 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 a million miles a minute without thinking about what they're saying. And then you as a consumer are able to eat that up and then respond back within seconds. We had it, but we had it late. You know what I mean? Tom was teaching us how to program on MySpace. And then we was able to do that.
Yeah.
Y'all not even learning how to program. Y'all just going straight to the boom, 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 boom. So y'all have more avenues to express yourself. The older generations didn't really have that. We had to have a book. We had to have beepers, you know what I'm saying? Pay phone. You had to walk up and find the person. You had to knock on the door, see if the person was home. You can text them now.
Yeah. That was, it goes back to an episode we did last season, information overload.
Right.
And I've been hearing that phrase come up a lot lately. There's too much information out there, and not say, and I'm saying this, and one of my pastors said this, and it's very true. There's a lot of information out there, but how do we know that that information is correct?
People just expressing themselves, man.
Yeah, they can express themselves, but they may not be expressing themselves correctly with certain instances. Just saying.
Okay. Understood. Take us home, man. Where we at?
What do we consider healthy healing versus toxic healing? And your opinion on someone wanting to heal but having no guidance.
So this goes back to the last topic we just spoke about, being expressive. Everybody has an opinion. This is just an opinion. I do not believe that there is a healthy healing and a toxic healing. I have met people that are in the trenches and they are hitting the block, blowing their weed, rolling dice, and they healing from losing a homie yesterday. It's healthy to me. That's their lifestyle. You can't tell them that's not healthy. You feel me? I think it only becomes toxic healing. This is just my opinion again. Toxic healing is only healing if it involves harming somebody else. Does that make sense?
Well, wouldn't you include yourself as harm too?
Again, my opinion. I'm a little darker than a lot of people, right? This is not gonna be nice what I'm about to say. If you one of them people, right, and you got a lot of things you've done in your life and you feel like that's the way you need to go about it, this is not the therapist talking. This is me. This is me. You know what I mean? The dark version of me talking. Like, bro, that's your business, man. That's just your business. Can someone harming themselves be considered toxic? Yes. But if that is your version of healthy, if I can't save you, I can't save you. You understand?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not my place to tell you that that's toxic or that's not healthy. Yes, we want you to live. Yes, we want you to continue going. But who am I? I think we got to get back to that point. Who am I to tell you something is toxic unless it's harming me directly? You understand? I think we just become a little bit too, we're not even PG no more. We are G rated in this society. And sometimes it's good, but a lot of times it's just pandering, man. Like, yo, how is that considered toxic to you? Because he's saying, hey, how you doing? I got it, man. You need to get out of my face. We doing too much. How am I supposed to date you? I know I'm going into something else, but I'm just saying it's too much. I can't tell you what's toxic and what's not unless you harming me. That is what I'm standing on.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So toxic healing to me is if you're doing something you consider healing and it's directly harming somebody else. I'm not talking about their feelings. I'm talking about you're physically harming somebody else. You're causing verbal damage, physical damage, that type of thing. You don't got to harm somebody else in your healing process. That's whack to me. That's trash. Like, we ain't got to do that. The next question is my opinion on someone wanting to heal but having no guidance. I'm a big person telling you, like, yo, once upon a time, therapy wasn't cool. Man, it's therapists out here that look like you, that vibe like you, that talk like you. You want a therapist with a tie? They got those. You want a therapist that's wearing a tee like this and telling you, hey, you forgot something and it's pointing to the brain? We exist. We out here. We having fun with you. We can get you through, bro. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be in a situation where you don't know where you're going. Find you a therapist. Can't find you a therapist, it costs too much money. Look for a sliding scale. If a therapist is just absolutely not going to work for you, man, open up to the people around you. Make sure they're the right people around you, because some people around you are messy, or some people around you trying to heal themselves. And then if all else fails, I go back to what I said in the first episode, man. No matter what you believe in, go find you a religious or a spiritual place and tap in. That's where your guidance really supposed to be coming from. That's where I should have started, but that's where it's at.
Bro, you hitting these points. I think the only thing I can add to this is like I think there is healthy and toxic healing.
Okay.
I think I'm piggyback on your toxic healing point about harming others. As definitely you don't want to do that. You don't want to affect other people around you. But I would also say toxic healing is harming yourself,
Okay.
right? And it's being detrimental to you, and that could be any type of way. Like if you think your healing process deals with the alcohol bottle, right?
Mhm.
And drinking too much, that's harming yourself. Because that can lead to alcohol poisoning. That can cause all different type of other health problems. Like I get it. Yeah, if you want to smoke weed to bring yourself down, I get that too. But too much of anything is bad.
Of course.
So that's what I would consider toxic healing. If you don't do it in moderation, or it's putting you in a better place. That's what I think is toxic healing. It's not just affecting other people. Healthy healing, it's basically fine, fit in when you get in. I think one of my healthy healing places is keeping myself preoccupied. And and it's not so like keeping my preoccupied so much that I'm busy and I don't have time for myself, but it's just keeping myself preoccupied that I'm not dwindling in my thoughts. I'm wandering into a different place or to a dark place that I don't want to be in, and then spiral out of control in my own head. So yeah, find your avenue, and definitely guidance. Yeah, I think my first instinct is to always go to the Father upstairs because He's the one who brought us here. And like with that, I'm gonna say this now. Everything that was put on this earth, right, to work for good came from Him. And you can say that, oh, people in it are bad. No, you have to think people's human nature twisted it in a manner to make it toxic and inappropriate and wrong. God put stuff on here to help us. And if we do it the right way and how He guided us, it makes the most sense in the world. But when we deter and put our own mindset on it and trying to change the value of it, devalue it, or trying to make money off of it improperly, not saying that you can't make money off of it, if that because therapists they make money off of giving therapy and guidance, but there's a way to do it. My brother here is doing it properly. There's some people who just doing it just to make a check and be like, oh yeah, come in, all right, 30 minutes. Oh, your 30 minutes are up. Next week, I see you next week. There's a way to do it. People just need to tap in. When they tap into that higher power coming from Him, with His guidance, His plan, He will never lead you astray. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Grief and healing, everyone goes through it. If you rely on the source, you're going to be just fine. Look, I lost my mother at age 11. And look at me now. I'm married and healthy in a healthy marriage. Healthy marriage, guys. I'm mending relationships with my father. I still talk to my siblings every single or every other day. And I still talk to the people who I consider brothers who aren't blood. Sisters who aren't blood. So grief and healing. It's real. It can hurt. It will hurt. But it can also be happy times. And with that being said, folks, we see y'all next week.
More healing, more life, more love. You already know.
What up, listeners? Mike B here. Hope you enjoyed the episode. You can find us on IG at BMM_podcast. On TikTok at BMM Podcast. Facebook, just type in the Black Man Misunderstood Podcast. And then you can find the Neighborhood Therapist at the Neighborhood Therapist on IG. And you can find myself at MikeB_BMM on IG. And if you want to connect with our producer, the DJ himself, Mr. DJ Daxter, check him out at DJ Daxter on IG. Alright, folks. See y'all next week.